I'm going to be talking about India's first ever supercomputer. Okay, so back in like the olden days, which is like 1960, 1970. So during that time, India was having 75% of their people getting their income from agriculture, meaning every 3 people in 4, so 3 out of 4 people in India would be farmers. So it was very important to know when the monsoon is coming, because for Indian farmers, if the monsoon comes too late, then the seeds will die, and if it comes too early, the seeds will also die. So it needs to come at that perfect time so that the harvest won't fully fail and we won't be in like a whole situation, So it was very important for India back then to track when the monsoon would come. And during this time, America had invented like a godly supercomputer. At least at the time, it could do 400 million calculations per second. Just to put that in perspective, one of these iPhones that you have today can do 3 trillion calculations.
Per second?
Yeah, per second. So it's slow in today's terms, but back then it used to be very fast. So India requested for that computer, and in fact, they literally went to America, went up to them and asked, "Can we please have this supercomputer?" And then America was like, why? No.
Yeah.
The reason being is that before all this happened, there was a nuclear test in Rajasthan that was like deep underground. They had tested a bomb. So
India tested bomb.
Yeah. And like America was scared. Oh no, what if they use that for like nuclear
America
testing?
basically never wanted any other country to have that kind of superpower with the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
So when we did it, we didn't took anybody's permission basically.
Yeah. We were like, you know what? Screw up. We're gonna do it.
It was high secret task.
Top secret. Yeah. So, and after that, America was like, no. They thought that we are going to use it for that sort of nuclear testing, and because of that, our actual like uranium supply got cut off. So America thought that we had a stash of uranium and we're going to do some nuclear bomb testing, which actually that was true. We did have a uranium stash, but besides from that, we were not going to use it for that reason. We were going to use it for the monsoon. So America declined giving us the top tier one and said, okay, we'll give you this other supercomputer, which was half the speed, 200 million calculations per second. Now that doesn't seem like a big difference, but it sort of was, So because of that reason, India had to basically accept that they needed to buy that supercomputer, because they absolutely had to get that to track the monsoon, right? And at that time they didn't have any other option, so they bought that 200 million calculation per second supercomputer that was offered. But on top of that they had already gotten offered like a lower level one. On top of that, America told that they had to have one official person monitoring what they're doing with that supercomputer 24/7 to make sure that they're actually using it for the monsoon.
This is in 1970s?
Yeah, around that sort of time, probably before you two were born, okay? So during that time, it was basically required for America to watch what they're doing. So India had accepted that as well. So but in the background, they decided to start like a sort of small team. So they recruited a whole bunch of smart computer scientists from around India, and those people were like big brained people, like they were super smart in this computer science, and they had built a small team of around 60. And the main leader of this team told one of the person.
You know the name?
No, not really. So one of the main people told another person that actually wanted this group to get started, and that person asked them, the leader, so how long will it take for you to make this supercomputer? And show the picture of America's supercomputer. And the guy who saw that, he basically didn't know much about supercomputers, but he said, in 3 years, this supercomputer will be built in 36 months. And the person that asked that leader to make that was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to give you like 36 crores, not 36, 34 crores, which is sort of like symbolic, because America would have given that 400 million calculations per second computer for 34 crore to India. So it was sort of like the same amount. So with that money, they recruited all those people, and those recruited people, they weren't being paid anything. They were actually working for free. So they all built, so they decided, okay, let's try and get that same chip that America has for that supercomputer. But then they realized that that chip, that processor unit, is like custom made in like very magical systems. So, and India could not afford buying those full fabricizers and all those sort of things to make that processor. So they decided that they will buy a lower level one from the UK. So they bought it, and neither US or UK were worried about India buying that, because they knew, yeah, it's lower level, nobody cares about that. So you take it, how much ever you want. So when they got that, they realized that that specific processor bit that they got can communicate with the same processors like around the world. So if you had type 1 processor, it could communicate with other type 1 processors. So they got a whole lot of them, put them in like a nice little area. So basically they had formed like a network of these processors to create that sort of big processor. So one could communicate to the other, and using that sort of system, they created the first ever supercomputer. And that in itself was such a big thing, but they decided that they're going to go global with this, which was a really risky decision, in the sense that they would participate in a competition against like other countries like Japan, China, and US. So, and those supercomputers were made with like billions of dollars. So you can imagine their budget and India's budget. And yet, when they got to that place in Switzerland to go ahead and test the computers and see which one is the best, India ranked number 2, beating 2 of America's supercomputers. But it was only 2 because one of America's, I don't know the exact model, but it had beat India. But to consider that American one that beat India was like so expensive. You can't imagine, like it was very expensive. And the Indian one was like around 350, so 1,000. And that was like such a big thing. If somebody wanted to buy a supercomputer, they would most likely opt for the Indian one, because that is like such a cheap thing, and it also works so well, and it's so like groundbreaking. And there were multiple newspapers with the headline that supercomputer denied, angry India strikes again. It literally said, angry India strikes again. Well, I mean, what a sort of title, like round of applause for India.
Nice.
And this supercomputer was like such a big thing, and the people that worked on that supercomputer, now they are having such big roles in like places. They're like teaching supercomputing to others. So, and you can imagine, they worked for free at that time, but because they worked for free, they got all that skill. They are now being paid who knows how much, because of all that things that they did. And it's such a crazy thing, you know. And my goodness, it's just, yeah, what a groundbreaking discovery had been made at that time.
Superb. There are many such stories India has.
Yeah, there's
especially
so
with
many.
Space.
Yeah, space.
How they landed on
ISRO, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay.